trying. But trying isn't enough. Nearly every nation backs the SDG, yet half the world can't afford to deliver them. Countries are on board, progress is visible, but with 83% of the targets off the track. Why is it so? The answer isn't just about policies. It's about power, money, and global priorities. As 2030 draws near, the world faces critical moments in the journey towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, with challenges and opportunities unfolding across every region. The 2025 Sustainable Development Report, released by independent experts at the SDG Transformation Center, reveals a mixed global picture. While momentum remains strong, progress is uneven, and time is running out. A decade after the adoption of Agenda 2030, 190 out of 193 UN member states have submitted national reviews detailing their commitment to the SDGs. But despite the enthusiasm, only 17% of the global targets are currently on track to be achieved. East and South Asia remains at the forefront of progress, while countries like Benin, Nepal, Costa Rica, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia already made significant gains within their regions. Finland leads globally, topping the SDG index once again. In contrast, the report highlights troubling disparities. Barbados ranks first in support for UN-based multilateralism, while United States ranks last, following its recent withdrawal from both the Paris Climate Agreement and the World Health Organization. From many developing nations, the major hurdle is clear: lack of fiscal space. With half of the world population living in debt-constrained economies, the ability to invest in health, education, clean energy, and infrastructure is limited. Yet, there is hope. The report put forth that sustainable development offers high returns, especially in emerging markets. It calls for a total overhaul of the global financial architecture, urging the global community to channel capital towards the countries that need it most and where it can do the most good. The June-July 2025 fourth edition of the International Conference on Financing for Development in Seville, Spain, stakes couldn't be higher.
Today we are meeting in Seville, in Spain, with representatives of 70 international organizations and 170 countries to bring humanity further from the horrors of the past.
The message is simple. If we are to meet the SDGs by 2030 and build a livable future beyond, financing must be bold, fair, and focused on people. Grace Komolafe, Souqnews TV.
Plastic waste is a mounting crisis, but it also presents an opportunity for business and government to lead the vanguard for systemic change. While regulations, corporate initiatives, and citizens' engagement have made progress, much more is needed in how businesses shape consumer behavior, how governments enforce environmental policies beyond rhetoric, and how public perception is managed through strategic communication. For decades, Nigeria's reliance on single-use plastic sachets, bags, and food packaging has grown, driven by affordability and convenience. However, this has come with a cost. The country generates an estimated 2.5 million tons of plastic wastes annually, with only about 12% recycled. In urban centers like Lagos, Abuja, Ibadan, Port Harcourt, waste is a leading contributor to clogged drainage systems, flooding, and environmental degradation. In this special report, Bayo Olaoye, examines the challenges facing efforts to tackle the menace of plastic wastes in the country. Despite past government efforts to curb indiscriminate plastic use, such as Lagos environmental sanitation laws under former Governor Babatunde Fashola, enforcements have been inconsistent. The challenge now is moving beyond periodic government crackdowns and isolated corporate initiatives to a coordinated long-term shift towards a responsible plastic use, recycling, and waste management. Leading Nigerian manufacturing companies are taking active steps to integrate recycling and responsible disposal into their operations. Key initiatives include investing in recycling hubs, with Coca-Cola of Nigeria, Nestle, and Guinness setting up plastic recovery and recycling hubs, creating an ecosystem where post-consumer waste is collected, processed, and refused. Retailers and distributors are being encouraged and in some cases incentivized to set up collection points where consumers can return used packaging for responsible disposal. There is also brand-driven consumer education. Organizations have introduced citizen advocacy campaigns to influence individual waste disposal behavior. This kind of messaging, when amplified by large brands, can have a ripple effect in shifting cultural habits. Beyond environmental responsibility, investing in circular economy models enhances long-term profitability, strengthens brand equity, and aligns with global environmental, social, and governance standards. To effectively shape consumer behavior and stakeholders' engagement, businesses must leverage communication strategies that go beyond compliance reports. Employees should be active participants in sustainability efforts. Companies can integrate sustainability training, incentivize waste reduction, and implement office-wide plastic reduction policies, engaging suppliers, investors, and partners in sustainability commitments such as reducing excessive packaging or co-investing in recycling solutions to create an ecosystem-wide impact. Mass communication campaigns, social influencers, partnerships, and media collaborations can help educate consumers on practical steps for responsible plastic use and disposal. While Nigeria has engaged in international climate and sustainability conversations, the government must go beyond policy declarations and foreign aid incentives. The priority should be local, long-term economic and health benefit, rather than reactivate bans that are often poorly enforced. The government can provide tax incentives for businesses, investing in recycling infrastructure while enforcing stricter regulations on reduction and disposal, expanding waste management facilities, establishing more government-led recycling centers, and integrating waste picker into a formalized economy can improve efficiency and create jobs. The administration of Governor Babatunde Fashola demonstrated that when the government takes waste disposal seriously with clear penalties for violations, citizens pay attention. The government must invest and consistently engage public education on the economic and health impact of plastic waste. A cleaner environment leads to a lower public health costs, fewer disease outbreaks, and increased workers' productivity due to better air quality and more usable public spaces. The Nigerian plastic waste problem is not just an environmental issue. It is an economic and reputational challenge for businesses and a government issue for policymakers. By adopting strategic communications, businesses can shift consumer behavior, governments can enhance enforcement, and citizens can embrace a cleaner and more sustainable future.
Olumorok, Lishabi, and the people of Egbala are
story of resilience and transformation. Telling the story from afar may not be as beautiful as visiting the historical scene for a more engaging storytelling.
I welcome you to the foot of Olumo Rock. So climbing the rock is in two ways. Either you go through the panoramic elevator or the stairs, but whichever way you choose to go through, I'm assuring you are going to land at the topmost part of Olumo Rock safely. So Olumo Rock is like every other rock you've ever climbed or know about, but it play an important role in the life of the people of Egba during an intertribal war between the Egba and Oyo Empire.
History and culture are the intertwined thread that shape the identity of a people, offering a glimpse into their past struggles, triumphs, and the rich traditions that continue to define their presence.
So from here we can have the glance view of the immediate environment around Olumo Rock, because Olumo Rock is centered at the middle of Abeokuta. But when we get to the topmost part on Olumo Rock, we are going to have the 360 degree of the view, which means the more you go, the more you see. So I want to encourage you to
Raise up.
brace up so that we can get to the topmost part of the rock. So let's move.
History is what we bring to you today. What is the connection between Olumo Rock, Lishabi, and the Egba people? My name is Grace Komolafe, and this is SOUQ Perspective. Let me take you on an inspiring journey through the history of one of Nigeria's most significant landmarks. Come with me.
I welcome you to the first level on Olumo Rock.
Thank you.
So this is the first level on the rock. Olumo Rock is in 3 stages, from the ground floor to the first landing scape. I want to inform you that you have climbed 120 stairs to come this far. Can you give yourself a round of applause for that? And I'm sure you are fit to climb to the topmost part in Olumo
I'll
Rock.
try.
That's great to know. So the first level of Olumo Rock is called Lishabi Garden. Lishabi Garden is named after one of our past warriors called Lishabi Agbungwakala. Lishabi was one of the warriors that fought for Egba to gain their freedoms from old Oyo Empire. It is a natural garden set aside for people to take relaxation after climbing the first level of the rock. Also at this spot, we have 2 trees that we can talk about. The first one is Dongoyaro tree. This is it here. Dongoyaro tree. English call it neem tree. It botanicizes as Adirata indica. If you get from its leaf and cook cassava and drink, it kills malaria. And if you drink from its stick, it clears bad breath from mouth. Also, its name is derived from an Hausa face, which means tall boy, Doko Yaro. This is a flamboyant tree. Its botanic is Dilonis regia. It produces some lumpo. Look at the branches. If you get from those brown pods, there are some seed inside it. When it dries up, if you tap or shake, it gives a kind of sound sheke sheke. And that was where the Yoruba derived its name from. That is why we call it pansheke in the Yoruba land. The pots serve as a natural musical rattle for traditional dancers, nursing mother to play with, before the invent of tambourine and some other musical instruments. When we go up on Olumo Rock, we are going to turn and visit all historical places. There are some shrines and worshippers around Olumo Rock. They are not harmful. They are here to showcase our cultural and traditional heritage. So I wish you a pleasant trip as we rock.
Olumo Rock, a striking natural formation rising 137 meters, which is about 450 feet above Abeokuta, Nigeria. It's more than just a tourist attraction. It is a symbol of Egba people's endurance. The story of Olumorok begins in the early 19th century when it was identified by the hunter named Adagba. Though details on how Adagba discovered the rock were limited, it is well documented that the Egba people facing oppression under the Oyo Empire sought refuge here.
This is the cave. This was where the people of Egba took refuge during the war. From that side, there was some dripping water. Some water is to drop from that side. It is tagged the medicinal water of Olumorok. Whenever the water is gushing, traditional believers always come to pick from its drop. And they claim it cures so many ailments in the body. But the water is not flowing now because God determines when the water flows. And this grave, that's the resting place of Chief Sonny. The grave of Chief Sonny. Chief Sonny was the OC of Itoko during his lifetime. Olumorok is founded between two communities. The entry point of Olumorok, where you came in from, is called Ikija, while the backside of Olumorok is called Itoko community. And this is a chieftaincy title in the Yoruba land. That is the chief sitting at the left of the king in palace. As we have the Otunba and Osioba, was the two top positions to the king. According to the custom and tradition of Yoruba, when the chief died, they bury the chief either at the front of his house, at his bedroom, or at his backyard. He must never be taken to a cemetery. That was why Baba was buried here. And this rostry roof building is the family house of Chief Sonny. The family has an extension. Baba dies on the 23rd of January 1956. 20 years after his death, government took over this place as a tourist site. That was why government decided to fence the family house so that they will not be blocking up the passage of the tourists. So the people of Egba took refuge here during an intertribal wars. The war started in 1830. Then the people of Egba were under old Oyo Empire. They basically want freedoms and where to settle. That was why they consulted the Fareku for lead. Ifa instructed the Egbas to come and settle there. On their way coming down, they met a man on the road. The name of the man is called Adagba. Adagba was a great hunter farmer. He was the one that discovered Olumorok during his hunting process. During those periods, the entire city of Abeokuta was thick forest. Only the powerful ones and the warriors that could come around to do anything and return back home alive. But when the fire instructed the Egbas to come, Shodeke, who was one of the founding fathers of Egba land, led the people of Egba down here. And they were here for years. During their stay, they took the natural suspension shape of the rock advantage and built their rooms. The rock is naturally standing. They only took the advantage of the shape and built their room. So the rock served as the roof of the room. 4 of the rooms they built has collapsed, remains only that. Those are the signs of the fallen rooms. That was where they kept wives and children. Men and warriors will surround the rock so that the enemy will not gain access to this place. All these holes you are seeing on the surface of the rock, that was where they do their grindings. Like we use blenders now, Yoruba call it oluata. So the process of their grindings make the holes dip like this. After the war in 1833, the people of Egba from Ifa to confirm maybe they should leave this place to go back to where they came from. Ifa told them to keep on dwelling here, that this is where God has put an end to their problems. And that's how they derived the name to the rock, Olufimo. Olufimo means where God put an end to all our tribulations. Ibiti Oluwa fi ogun wàhálà ti dààmú ayé wa mọ̀ sí Olufimo. But people later shorten it to Olumo to gain a very short word. Another meaning to Olumo, Olu in a Yoruba land means God. That's God Almighty. Mo means mold or molded. The people then believe that God benevolently molded the rock for them so that they can take their refuge under it. Oluwa ló mọ̀ fún wa láti fi ṣe ibi ìsádi kúrò lọ́wọ́ ọ̀tá. God molded the rock for a refuge. So when they came out from the rock, others were asking the Egbas of their whereabouts, and they told them, hid ourselves under the rock. Under the rock or beneath the rock in Yoruba means Abe Okuta. And that was how the name got changed from Egba, and they started referring to them as Omo Abe Okuta. Also, the popular city of Abe Okuta started from here. So if you have been anywhere around the town and you have not visited here, you haven't been to Abe Okuta.
The name Olumo is derived from the Yoruba words Olu means God and Mo meaning molded, signifying God-molded rock. This reflects the deep spiritual connection the Egba have with the rock, seeing it as a divine creation that shaped their destiny. Today, the rock remains not only a historical site, but a place of cultural rituals, including annual sacrifices.
Over here, we have the main shrine of Olumo Rock, the main shrine of the rock. The main shrine is a local temple where the people of Egba worship and make sacrifices to the deities of Olumo Rock. Olumo Rock is an historical monument. It's also a symbol of Egba unity, strength, and unfailing protection. Because under the rock, the people of Egba took refuge during an intertribal war. And after the war, the rock has become a deity. That is why Egba people offer sacrifice to Olumo Rock once in a year with a big black cow. During the festival, only two people have access to enter the shrine. That is why the shrine is always locked. And the two people are the paramount ruler of Egba land, that's Alake of Egba land, and the chief priest. The chief priest is called Abore in the Yoruba land. Other traditional rulers in Abe Okuta invited guests, indigenous of Abe Okuta, will stay outside to say amen to his prayer. During the festival, the Alake of Egba land will pray for the whole nation. He pray for Egba unity. Also the climbers of Olumo Rock, so that they will not fall. No one has ever fallen while climbing the rock. Also at the shrine, traditional believers always come to make their requests in prayers. When the prayer is answered, those that made pledges while praying will come back to redeem their pledge, ensuring appreciation to Almighty God and to Olumo that interceded for them. That is why we have those feather, blood, and cloth on the face of the shrine. Those are the sign of pledges people have been returning. And the people refer to the rock as Olumo Abelowo, Abelomo, Abeloro, Asadi Mulu Egba. There are 4 traditional rulers in Abe Okuta: Alake of Egba land, the paramount ruler of Egba land, Oshilo of Okiono, Agora of Bagora, and Oluwu of Uwu. Traditional believers always come to make their requests in prayers. Maybe they are looking for words, children, or anything in life. So when the prayer is answered, those that make pledges while praying will usually come back with their pledges. That's why we have those feather, blood, and stuff on the face of the shrine. Those are the sign of the pledges. And the people refer to the rock as Olumo Abelowo, Abelomo, Abeloro, Asadi Mulu Egba, meaning a deity you can pray through for words, children, and every other good things in life.
You might be wondering about the historical issues between Oyo and the Egba people. How Oyo to exert control over them. The western region of Nigeria, primarily composed of Yoruba descendants, was dominated by the Oyo Empire, a powerful political entity that rose to prominence around the 15th century. By the 18th century, Oyo had become one of the largest and most influential states in West Africa, known for its sophisticated governance, military strength, and expansive trade networks, controlling neighboring kingdoms, including the Egba. The governance of the Oyo Empire was centralized under the Alafi, the king, who was supported by a council of advisors and provincial governors. This structure enabled the empire to maintain stability and enforce laws across its vast territories. At its peak, Oyo thrived economically through agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship, establishing itself as a vibrant economic hub. However, its involvement in the transatlantic slave trade created significant instability in the region. leading the Egba people to seek independence from Oyo's control. Who is Lishabi? No story about the Egba people is complete without mentioning Lishabi, the legendary warrior whose courage and strategic leadership freed the Egba people from the oppressive dominance of the Oyo Empire. Lishabi heroism is etched deeply in the annals of Yoruba history as he led a rebellion that broke the chains of subjugation and paved the way for Egba autonomy. Lishabi Agbongbo Akala, a native of Itoku, Abeokuta, was not just a fearless leader, but also a tactician. In the late 18th century, the Egba were subject to heavy taxation and constant exploitation under Oyo's rule. To resist this, Lishabi secretly mobilized a group of Egba farmers and hunters into a covert warrior society called Egbearo, a vital step in organizing the rebellion. With his deep understanding of the terrain and his influence over his people, Lishabi led a series of coordinated guerrilla attacks against Oyo forces stationed in the Egba region. His strategy was not one of open warfare, but a methodical plan to undermine Oyo's authority. By ambushing Oyo tax collectors and military detachments, Lishabi weakened the empire's grip over the Egba. His leadership unified the Egba people, turning their frustration with Oyo into a force for liberation. Following their eventual victory, the Egba people were freed from the oppressive rule. In 1830, this newfound freedom led to the establishment of Abeokuta, meaning under the rock, a city founded under the protective watch of Olumorok. Olumorok provided both a literal and symbolic refuge as it sheltered their people during their struggle for independence. From this safe haven, the Egba built a thriving community rooted in agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship, becoming a key cultural and economic hub in the region. Today, Lishabi Agbongbo Akala's legacy is celebrated not just as a warrior, but as a symbol of unity and resilience. His actions not only ensured the survival of the Egba people, but also contributed to the rich historical and cultural fabric of Abeokuta and the entire Yoruba as a whole. By the mid-19th century, Abeokuta had attracted European missionaries like Thomas Freeman, whose introduction of Western education and Christianity left a lasting influence on the community.
Inscription about the just a little write-up. The next spot is where we used to have the mamas. So this was one of the water pots they drank from there. Yoruba call it cocoa. With water storage and preservation, water point is as cold as water from the refrigerator, but it has been cemented for proper preservation. The Yalorisha, they are here as the custodians of the rock, and people do come to them for spiritual consultation and a whole lot more. So this is a crown tree. Crown tree. Yoruba call it Igia Cocoa. If a king has to be installed, or they want to make a chieftaincy title in a Yoruba land, they pluck from the leaf away a cocoa to coronate king. But this very one is mainly used for the paramount ruler of this town, Lake of Egala, only for him. And the tree has been growing there for over 250 years. It doesn't grow than this. It has been. Poster of the newly studied Iyalumo, she's 98 years of age. And this is a poster reflecting the old Iyalumo. She died at the age of 137 years, over 2 years ago now. They have a deity they worship here. They call it Orisha Igu. Orisha Igu. That's the deity that controls longevity. They believe the more they worship, the longer they live. So they have other deities around. One of such is Orisha Ojubo Baluaye. Baluaye is the deity that controls chickenpox and measles. Yoruba call it Shopono. So if chickenpox or measles is striking all over, they do consultation from here. So whatever instruction they get, so once they follow it, everything that comes up will disappear to go. So that's Ojubo Baluaye right there. And this Ogun, god of iron, the famous god of iron. So, we have a baobab tree, B-A-O-B-A-B. In the eastern part of Nigeria, they call it Afon-Apunwa. In the northern part, they call it Koka. Here in Southwest, we call it Gyoshi. It Botanica Sadansonia digitata. The encounter of the tree is that traditional believers always come under to pray for protections, because there's an adage in the Yoruba land that goes thus. Wanipo do ikapa, apa okapa, wado ikai Gyoshi, apa okoshi, wado ika konga oshi binukosi. Meaning there's no way you can wrap your arms around the tree. It is impossible because of its massiveness. That's why traditional believers always come under to pray for protections. So that's the Gyoshi right there. On the floor here we have the faces of the warlord, those that fought for Egba to gain their liberations. So their memorial sculpture was molded here. And the white share you are seeing there, that type of money spent in the olden days. Cowrie share, Yoruba call it Oweyo. But now they know it for a fact consultation and traditional decoration. That's the olden days money spent in the olden days. Also they use it for a fact consultation. The ancient route to the peak of Olumo Rock. Before modernization, this is only means of going up the rock. The ancient trail is a natural passage used by the warriors to access the rock.
as a beacon of history, attracting visitors from all over the world who seek to understand the resilience of the Egba people, showcasing various historical pieces, traditional items, and, on the other hand, the establishment and continuous celebration of the Lishabi festival. In the evolution of the Egba from warriors and hunters to craftsmen, traders and national leaders, their history illustrates the power of unity and determination. Lumorok continues to tell the story of a people who overcame oppression to build a vibrant, self-sustaining community.
I welcome you to the topmost part in Lumorok. From here you can see almost everywhere in Abeokuta. And the height of the rock is 137 meters above sea level. That's about 449 feet.
is the rich, unyielding legacy of Olumorok, Lishabi, and the Egba people. A narrative of survival, courage, and transformation. Now you see the connection. You see the missing link. I am Grace Komolafe, and this is SOUQ Perspective on Souqnews Television.
Trafalgar Square, established in 1844, is a symbol of British naval history and a popular cultural spot in London. Named after the 1805 Battle of Trafalgar, it has been the site of celebrations, protests, and cultural events, representing the changing identity of the city. It houses several landmarks, like the Nelson Column, St. Martin in the Fields Church, and the National Gallery. The Nelson's Column, a tribute to a naval hero, is the main feature of Trafalgar Square. Standing 52 meters tall, completed in 1843, it honors Admiral Horatio Nelson's victory at Trafalgar. The column is topped with a statue of Nelson, and 4 bronze panels at its base show scenes from his battles. Surrounding it are 4 large bronze lions added in 1867, symbolizing British power.
Iconic part of British culture, not just in its look, but this is very much the sort of centre of London. You know, whenever there's a celebration, a protest, it's a public space that's very important for a lot of not just people that live in London, but for the UK. You know, it's a place where people would congregate. You know, I remember being here all around the 2012 Olympics. It was very much one of the centerpieces of British culture. Yeah, no, you used to be able to climb on the lions when I was younger, but you can't do anymore. So there you go. That's progress for you.
St. Martin's in the Fields Church, reputed as an architectural gem, was built between 1722 and 1726. It is known for its neoclassical design by architect James Gibbs, and is famous for its portico and steeple, and has influenced architecture worldwide. The church also a rich musical history, hosting concerts and helping the homeless.
Yeah, I actually came to London just on a little day trip, and then I remembered that this church sometimes has classical music on, so I just popped in, and there's no concert, but there were some people practicing. So there's a quartet of violins, and they made some lovely, sort of practice for some classical concerts. So I really enjoyed just sitting there for 10 minutes listening to it. It's lovely. It's a really nice church, and it's nice that people don't use it much time. So maybe we should have a nice coffee as well.
The National Gallery, founded in 1824, is a treasure trove of art. Located on the north side of Trafalgar Square, it houses over 2,300 artworks from the 13th to 20th century, with free public access to masterpieces from major European artists.
I'm not really sure. I haven't been through the museum yet, but I'm here for a Christian heritage tour to kind of learn more about the history of the Protestant Reformation in England and Christian history here in England through the paintings that are in the gallery. So that's what I'm here for today.
Trafalgar Square blends Britain's naval history with modern art and culture. It remains an important public space, attracting millions of visitors each year to experience London's rich heritage and vibrant atmosphere. Chike Okolo, reporting for SOUQ News.
The growing interest in Nigeria's lithium reserves comes as countries worldwide scramble to secure supplies of the mineral, which is essential for powering the green energy revolution. In this special report by Bayo Olaoye, the need to harness this resource for growth and development is examined with the evolution of electric vehicles and renewable energy storage systems. Lithium is a key component in the production of batteries for electric vehicles and renewable energy storage systems, and Nigeria is positioning itself to become a major player in the global lithium market. Nigeria's vast lithium reserves, valued over $34 billion, is no doubt attracting world attention, while lithium factories are springing up in different parts of Nigeria already. The attention of the international mining industry is also focused on lithium because it is critical raw material for the production of solar panels and electric vehicles. Analysts predict that global lithium market could grow robustly over the next decade, driven by the rapid adoption of electric vehicles and renewable energy technologies. Data from a global future market insight showed that the lithium mining industry has emerged as a cornerstone of the clean energy transition, driven by the skyrocketing demand for lithium-ion batteries. The surge in lithium demand is driven largely by the electric vehicles market, which accounted for over 70% of the global lithium consumption in 2024, according to an Iranian-based research firm. With countries such as the United States, China, and members of the European Union pushing for next zero emission by mid-century, lithium demand is expected to escalate further. The federal government, indeed, the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, should intensify efforts geared at renewing and resuscitating the viable lithium industry in the country to its full potential. As Nigeria diversifies its economy into other sectors, the lithium industry offers hope and expectation that this sector would earn more revenue for the country. Nigeria should not just watch with folded arms, but must strive with the political will to develop and strengthen the country's vast lithium reserves.
I hail from Lagos State, from Isaleko. My father hailed from the Olumegbo family. I attended my primary, secondary education in Ibadan at the time because my mother was there. But my religious practicing was always done during the holidays at Holy Cross Cathedral. I was working in the sacristy. We used to prepare for the Mass on Saturdays, and we sell the news magazine on Sundays in front of the church. And I remembered fondly that we used to tease a man called Sunday Boku Boku at that time, and he used to run to chase us and throw stones at, how dare you call me Sunday Boku Boku. Those were fun times. Harvest, Corpus Christi. And I was born, raised, baptized, confirmed, married in the Catholic Church. But I got married to Engineer Larry Phillips, who is an Anglican. And I believe that in togetherness of family, it's best we all do things together. So I moved over with him against the doctrine of Catholic Church to the Anglican Church at Marina, where his family belongs and worships. I attended St. Luke's Demonstration School. We used to climb the mango trees, and there was a mixed school. We used to play at during break time. And in my secondary school was a Catholic school. And it's for you to be prim and prudish in life, and set you on as a lady. And I got some finesse from there too. And but the most interesting one, and the most that I can call a radical one, was my HSC in Olivet. I mean, we tried all sorts there. But it was fun and highly educative too. Sportsmanship was there. And from there, I proceeded abroad for my accountancy. And I was lucky to finish in a record time. And I came back, did my articleship, but married in between. I met my husband abroad, and we came back home, got married in Nigeria. I worked as an accountant with USC, very proud of the drill professionally that I got from USC. It had set me on a discipline for working. And I thank God that I had that opportunity, which still helps me today. Apart from the fact that my educational background sets me to be a diversified person in so many professions. And as an accountant, accountancy is the best of all, is the creme de la creme. And I've been able to fulfill my professional exposure in every species of responsibilities that I had opportunity to take upon me. And from USC, I proceeded to work for the bank. I went to politics. I became a commissioner in Lagos State, served with the present president of Nigeria. And you know how Lagos is. Lagos is like a country to other states. We went through governance. My team, as you can see, I have some of my colleagues in Abuja now. I have Honorable Minister Wali Edun. I have Honorable Minister Dele Alake. I have Honorable Minister Yemi Cardozo, and so forth. And I served in the bank as a director in Keystone. I've been a chairman of so many committees. You can say that again. In different aspects of life. Professional, political, social. And currently, I'm now the chairman of SOUQ Insurance PLC. was growing up, it was so free and enjoyable. We can take off at 11, 12, escort your friends to Bangbushe here. We go and have the Mosa. We go to the stadium. I remember me in my teenage age, I used to go to Nikon Stadium here. We watch so many matches, and I used to be with those fans, dancing and waving our fans, and bazaars, Easter Mondays, Fela Sports, you name it. It was fun. But Lagos was good for all of us. It was cleaner. It was amazing. Security isn't much to fear, You can just live the way you want. And money and values of life are completely different to what they are today. I was with my grandparents, and we had so many tenants, and we didn't realize they were tenants. We were all playing together, eating together, and we are still like one family today. But the story is not the same again. I wish one can turn around and change it, but we have all given our kids sheltered life for the fear of unknown. And I think the disadvantage is very grievous. I think first and foremost, God gave me the chance, the opportunities to pass through that in the journey of life. It's not only money that can make you successful in life. I want you to get that. It's an added support for you if in life you have the opportunities of parents who can financially support you. But at the same time, there are kids who didn't have any financial support and have been successful. So to me, success is about self-determination. I grew up around uncles and aunties who are thoroughly educated, and I've always had it behind my ambition that I must be in that cadre. And thank God the opportunity was there for me, and I seized it. And I remember myself telling my kids, when I was abroad, I never lived like my father was a rich man. No. I was behind the desk reading and reading till I got successful. And I passed in record time. First and foremost, I think I'm a people's person. Secondly, my educational background. Thirdly, my pedigree. And you can't be a Lagos person and don't have a bit of intelligence about how you can maneuver yourself, even in the midst of challenges. And I can tell you that boardroom politics, especially when you're a woman, is tough. But when you manage those that you sit around with, eventually, when they see that you're there to work, it has no business and basis for any other thing. I've had issues on boards because I'm female, and I put my foot down. It is the work we are doing. There is no gender sensitivity in this issue. Even in my early days as an accountant, when I had the accounting department, it was even tough at that level because the young accounting class, some of them can be daring to say, how can you talk to me like that? How can you make it? And I'll say, please, what do you mean? We need to get this target work done. So it's the work that is talking. That's not to do whether I'm a man or a woman. So I will like the idea of gender reasonableness to be better played. At least for now, we are not having that 3 1/3, no. But I guess we are in the region of 20%. And it should be better. You give a woman a chance, she will devote her life to it. But, I mean, when we have 1 or 2 issues from women who have been there, that should not create hurdle or boundary that you say a woman shouldn't cross. No. Nobody is perfect in life. And I want to let you know, it's tough for a woman. These men, when it is a woman having a corrective measure to be taken, they do not handle it the way they do for the men. They are in a rush to pack the woman out. You see from what has happened all over the world. So I will still make an appeal that women should be given better chances, better allowances. It's so quick to make a woman a scapegoat, the sacrificial lamb. Let's take it easy. And please, women, when they put you there, make us proud. I should remember the other women coming after me. If I make this trouble now, they turn around and say, this is why we don't give them the chance to get to the top. So you manage the situation, you know? And let us remember that Africa is still very chauvinistic. It's still a man's world here. We are only trying. So just give us, for now, our required 33 1/3% as per Beijing recommendation. Having been in politics, there are so many factors that bring you up there. Some sensible, which I would call sensibilities. Some sensitive based, which I would call sensitivity. And some as per geographical distribution. If it's not the turn of your section, your district, there's no way they can put you there. But then sometimes it's the turn of your district, and the party supremacy decrees that they don't want to use you. What do? You have to show some resilience as a stable character and do whatever you are given very well. Excel. Somehow, one day, you'll be there. Like Martin Luther King. At the end of that tunnel, I can see the light. Someday, somehow, you get there. I was in tourism shortly, and it's not enough time to propagate the excellence of your work. But in special duties, I give the ministry class. I was able to represent my Lagos State very well. NYC was under me. Proudly, I served. And we ensure that all students that need to go to orientation camp are well registered and got their NYC certificates. It's not about where they put you. It's about what you are able to do in that place. And you do it even to the enviable eye of somebody who believes has the best ministry with a lot of funding and allocation. I'm different in that respect. hard-working man, a man with a lot of sagacity, a man that is very kind. He has human kindness in his heart, a man that is highly focused. My office was very close to the Roundhouse, and I tell you, I wasn't surprised. And I kept telling everybody, I wasn't surprised he got a clinch that position, because I knew that even when in 99, from the day we stepped in, he's been working towards his election in 2003. So a man like that who is focused, his business is the end of the tunnel. All the distractions you are given, it's not, he doesn't consider it. So don't waste your emotions. You know, when you provoke yourself unnecessarily, and the person you are provoking yourself upon is not even responding on that line, you know you're wasting your time. But he's an astute politician. He knows what to do at every point. And don't try him, because he's a hard knock. And he's easy to forgive. That bit, I don't know how he does it, but it's easy to forgive and move on. He understands politics, maybe from a young age, I don't know, but he seems to have the knack of it at all times. I think that's in the pipeline. I don't have to come here to say that. And even in the insurance company industry that I am now, I'm propagating that, look, you need to take it easy. Is it at these hard times you want to recapitalize the industry and make life harder? Yes, recapitalize, but not with large gap. You know, the variance should not be too much, because you need to recapitalize so that companies will be solidly based to address financial issues and risk issues that we have in the country today. I studied religion for my A-levels in school. I did divinity. It's not just reading Bible. The interpretation, the history, the analogy, all of that I did. And it has helped to shape me for life. It has molded my conscience to a large extent. What I see in religion today, if I go back to the way I have studied religion, I will say I'm worried. The way we have churches established in this country now, I'm talking of my experience in Lagos State. On the street, you can find 6-8 churches, but there is no school. Education is key. Religion molds the character, the moral values about life. I'm not saying they are all totally condemned, but I think there should be more conferences and seminars to appeal to their conscience. It's one God. And in Lagos, the families, both Christian and Muslims, and the third religion, which is the native religion, we all interact and live together. And usually you find out that all of them talking about this God. I am a Christian. I talk about my God. And I don't denounce anyone in any other religion that faithfully talk about their God. And I don't allow that to affect a lot of decisions that I have to make, and didn't affect a lot of decisions that I had made. expectation is too high. We are still a developing country. The awareness of covering up your risk is not too much there. In terms of life insurance, in terms of property, people are not still there. People don't cover themselves well enough. They take unnecessary risk. I'm glad Lagos State Governor is saying everybody must have a health insurance now. That, again, will expand the scope of the insurance business. In insurance, there are so many seminars, there are so many conferences that are being put up there now, where the ability to educate the masses, and even the high-ups one, to please insure yourself. And when I say yourself, your life, your property, your children, and see how far it goes. It is important. And you know, in this era of insecurity, it is highly important. Just make sure you insure yourself. And with what the governor had proposed now, definitely Governor Sanwo-Olu did well. Health insurance is key. Health is wealth. First and foremost, inflation all over the world has gone haywire. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. Those who live in the Western world, they're crying hula baloo about the price of petrol, the price of even eggs. So it's not just Nigeria. Let us wake up and see that we're in a global world and everything is intertwined. The issue of the central bank now trying to manage inflation, these are not easy times all over the world. They're not easy times. And when I say we are a developing country, we are still trying very hard. I don't want to say it's sad. It depends on the environment. You know, you can't just bring UAE here into Nigeria. The environment here from inception has not delved too much on tourism. Your tourism is just go on holiday and go back. The beaches are there. And even from 1999, they are trying to redevelop along the beach so that tourist activities can happen. And I'm sure they're still on it. You need tourist attraction where you have every aspect of life when tourists come over. But with the problem of infrastructure that we have in the country, you can't do much tourism for now. It wasn't easy, but as I said, once you try to be a bit methodological about it, then you get by. Because from the days I came back from England, starting a family, working in large corporations, it just ensure that the home front solidly settled. And it wasn't that easy, because you know that I'm talking of almost 40 years back. To be able to excel amidst men, you probably have to do 2 times, 3 times more than them. I'm lucky I have a husband who accepts me being what I am. Because if you have a partner that does not appreciate your ambition and your dream, will not support you. but I have the support of my husband, and we are able to keep the home together. Make sure that his food is given. Make sure the kids are well looked after. Make sure the husband is well looked after at all times, and don't grudge. I try to give myself to people in terms of needs. I try to recognize people's needs, and at the moment of that need, I try to help. And it's a legacy I try to sound to my kids at all times. Recognize needs at that point and do it. Because at the point that you recognize it, if you don't offer the assistance, it may not be meaningful again. But if at the time that a need arises and you can do it, promptly do it. And I cannot manage people who are not sincere. I cannot. And that is the only thing that bothers me about life. And once I find out that you're not one way, I make my U-turn and I don't go back again. And that's one thing I have learned, I have seen, and I'm trying to learn from Mr. President Bola Tinubu. The way he can switch from being so hot and then swim as if nothing happened and carry on. That is tough for me. And I hope I'll be able to, within the space remaining, I'll be able to copy that. At the same time, I like hardworking. I recognize people who are hardworking, who are intelligent, and I recognize people who are hardworking and need to be helped in terms of training to be a better person. And I like fun. Now let me start with that girl child. That girl child is not so common again. At least most female children are educated now. Outside Lagos, girl child is a big reference. Yeah, I think everybody should be given equal chance to make a life, and a life worth living and contented with. Because if you don't have enough drive and motivation, then life becomes static and you just wear it out and go. But I believe that for women, don't let the men scare you off. You are equally hardworking and intelligent. Expose yourself, but don't mess yourself around. Don't get corrupt. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. And there's one good prayer. Everybody that knows me, and I always say, my God is a just God. His judgment is always fair. So whoever hurts you, attacks you, leave them to God. He's a fair God. The judgment of God will come. Just move on and pray that in your lifetime, that judgment comes up. My favorite food, I like eba and ewedu. I'm an expert in cooking. I love cooking, and I tell you, I can challenge anybody to come and compete with me. On that level, I score a good card. But I love fresh fish. with ewedu and eba. I'm not too much of an amala fan, and my favorite color is green. Or it's green, but with that green, I love bright colors. Even jewelry, it has to be bright for me, but still worn in a conservative way. As loud as whatever I pick may be, I still give it a conservative umbrella. I love to dance. I'm a good dancer. I love to socialize. I'm a good mixer, but highly disciplined.
As the world navigates constant change and competing voices, the call for purposeful leadership rings louder. The Scalable Leadership Summit 2025, hosted on the Leadership Channel Consulting platform, wasn't just another conference. It was a clarion call to leaders, seasoned and emerging, to abandon short-lived titles and build the kind of leadership that endures storms, spans generations, and reshapes nations. In a compelling convergence of Africa's top-level thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and organizational trailblazers, the summit issued a bold call for enduring, values-driven leadership. Under the theme, Lead Beyond Limits, Build What Lasts, the convener, Wale Adekola, emphasized that this event is not for applause. It was engineered for lasting impact.
We're talking about leaders who are going to represent leadership, who are going to become leadership ambassadors. And that is why we are launching Scalable Niger today. So Scalable Niger for us is not just a slogan. It's something that we want to see happening in every community in Nigeria. Because today, every participant is going to go home with three powerful frameworks. And for these frameworks, we have the first one is the Scalable Leadership Framework. The second one is ADAPT. ADAPT model is a sustainable change system that it can use to transform any system within the organization, of course, and across institutions in Nigeria, of course, and across Africa. So these are proven and tested frameworks that we have studied, we have applied, for the past 10 years. And now we want to see all these frameworks applied in Nigerian institutions and, of course, organizations.
The summit delivered a rich blend of keynote insights and fire chat dialogues, featuring voices like Adeyemi Olayiwole, Niyi Adesanya, Tara Fela Durotoye, Honorable Adewumi Adeyemi, Professor Abraham Oshinobi, and Dr. Smith Bam, among others. The experience was further deepened by stirring spoken words, performances, and inspirational music, not merely to share leadership principles, but to ignite a deeper commitment to legacy-driven leadership in a world that is constantly evolving. Kicking off the summit was leadership strategist and keynote speaker Odeyemi Olayiwole, who emphasized the power of learning from experience. His message challenged attendees to go beyond information and seek transformation through mentorship, experience sharing, and tested wisdom.
The cheapest way to succeed in anything is to learn from someone who has succeeded in that thing. Not someone that knows about the thing alone, but someone who has been able to acquire the information and translate it to application and have results to show. And so that's why many years, in 1996, when I knew that my assignment was in the leadership space, one of the first questions I asked is, who is doing what I want to do? And who is the best at what I do? Every year I pick 3 case studies: a country, a company, and a corporate leader, every single year. And I dissect them to find out what is the secret, because success needs clues. The secret of men are in their stories. So one of the cheapest ways to succeed at anything is to find out who has succeeded at what I want to start.
Renowned beauty entrepreneur Tara Feladrotoye, in her keynote session and during a fire chat with a convener, shared lessons from her leadership journey in building the House of Tara brand, from humble beginnings to a systemized enterprise. She spoke on navigating growth, people development, and succession planning.
What is it that I do that delivers the same outcome? What is it that makes my customers buy every time? Write it down, because you have now found a framework. Then you amplify and multiply that framework so that every time you meet a House of Tara person, there is something about them that reminds you of the person you met in Lekki. Why? Because we have created a culture. The policies are designed to protect you, not just the company. If you don't remember everything else that I said and you are an employee here, pull the policies and embrace them in your chest. Know them by heart. If anybody says anything, you just ask, what does the policy say? And all found out, if you don't have policies, what you are basically saying is that you're allowing your people to do anything.
From academia, Professor Oshinobi of Lagos Business School brought a compelling perspective on national transformation governance, innovation, and faith-based leadership.
The Nigerian paradox: we are rich in resources, yet poor in trust. True of us, bursting with talent, yet starved of opportunity. A land of faith, yet a desert. Governance is the structural foundation that enables accountability, transparency, and the rule of law. But the crisis is this: 83% of Nigerians is strong public institution. True or true? That is the basis of our problem in this country. Trust deficits.
The summit was not all talk. It was also artfully immersive, as Esosia Wilson rendered soul-lifting inspirational songs, creating moments of reflection between sessions. In an interview with Souqnews TV, the convener emphasized the summit's depth, that it is a leadership movement committed to shaping a new breed of leaders. Participants shared their reflections, describing the summit as a catalytic experience that confronted, challenged, and compelled.
Leadership is not just a day thing, it's a daily thing. We want them to recognize 3 types of patterns. So we have encouraged them to study pattern. Number 1, pattern recognition. Number 2, pattern usage, how they can use the pattern that they're going to learn today. And number 3 is pattern creation. How can they create new patterns that they can apply in their own organization, something that is unique for them from the patterns they've recognized that they can use and also apply in their organization through wisdom.
Some people just wish to scale, but you need to be able to have a system that enables you to scale. So that's basically what I think the frameworks will do. And then from each of the speakers, so they are all coming from different, some are from the academia, the business world, which I believe that convergence will actually help to give a better knowledge and sensitization about what true scalability in business and in leadership basically is.
The second session talked about the need for leaders to appreciate their team members, and it was quite emotional when we saw 2 or 3 people shed tears of joy when they got messages from their team leaders. So for us as team leaders, we need to be very deliberate. And even the case study we did, Deep Sea, it talks about the need for us to be very deliberate. We need to know our team members. We need to know what's happening with them, and we need to leverage their strengths.
Everything rises and falls on leadership. If the leader gets it right, it trickles down to those at the middle level, at the lower level. So it's important to get it right from the root so that the fruits are good. I do a lot of case studies. So you study what has worked, what has not worked. And through my research, preparing for this summit, I discovered that we're talking about starting, scaling, and sustaining businesses. So let's study systems that have worked for up to 1,000 years and more. And I found out that they are driven around community, which is people. Everything should be about people. Listen to them, love them, then you can lead them more effectively. And when people's hearts are touched, they work better with their hands, with their head, and with their feet.
Because I work with people, I understand how powerful